Pick your class and earn your battle points.
Because it's time for the Star Wars Battlefront podcast.
This episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast is brought to you by our patrons on Patreon. Head over to patreon.com/Battlefront podcast to help support this show. We're also brought to you by our PayPal supporters, paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep, TYEDYESHEEP.
Welcome to episode 101 of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. I'm your host, Sage Goodwin, joined by my brother and co-host, Sam Goodwin. In this episode, we'll be going over everything on the heroes included in the Battlefront 2 beta, how to play them, and much more. Let's get started.
Sector is clear. Not clear. Not clear.
Before we get started with the actual main topic, we're going to go over our experiences with the beta so far. We've played much more, and we have much more experience now. Before, you used to be a hater of Darth Maul.
Not.
Not?
I never disliked Maul. It just didn't fit my playstyle, but now I've learned how to play him. Now I dislike Han and Rey.
I've played Han and Rey, have yet to get enough points on the Separatist side in the time allotted to me. It's really hard to collect points on there because you have to be killing everyone.
You have to be at least in the top 3 of the leaderboard.
Yes.
Which is hard.
Yeah. On our Twitter, I was like, oh, the battle point system kind of messed up. I'm totally down for 2-point systems. One's for playing the objective, one's for getting kills. You can use the getting kills one for vehicles and the other for heroes. I would really like to see that. And everyone's like, oh, I get the hero like every time. And they're mostly PC people. So it's like, okay, yeah, you can play really good on PC. You can get 3,000 kills, or 1,000 kills like Tesco did.
You got 1,000 kills?
Yeah, somehow.
That's not possible.
He's breaking the game. Unless, on the Separatist side, unless you are number 1, 2, or 3, you're not going to get the hero. On the clone, it's a completely different story because everyone hates the heroes and they just use their points for the jump troopers and the vehicles.
The Wookiees as well.
Yeah. I see more vehicles on the clone side than I ever do on the Separatists. But how have you been playing Battlefront 2 beta so far?
Still defensively. Yeah. Just trying to earn battle points is really your main objective. Like, the droids don't really have a main line. They're just trying to...
Yeah, droids just kill. That's their main objective. Clones, on the other hand, they actually have an objective.
Yeah, they're supposed to get those ion blast and attack the MTT. Which, the droids don't really have anything to do. They're kind of just idle. They're just going around killing people.
And mostly they're not even doing that because they want to get to the next phase.
Yeah. But still, you have a certain amount of droids allotted to you in the phase, so you're trying to conserve those as well.
Yeah. I've been playing, for the past 2 days, I've been playing Strike like 24/7. Yesterday I played around 2 hours of Galactic Assault just so I can try and get the hero. I got close, and then today I finally got the heroes. First I got Rey, and we'll get into this later. And then I got Han the next game mode. But Strike is my new favorite. It is a really strategic game mode that I like to play. It's very fast-paced, aggressive. So Strike, you are as the First Order. You're trying to retrieve an artifact hidden in Maz's castle. As the Resistance, you're trying to protect that and stop them from transporting that artifact. I've gotten 30 kills in Strike with 12,000 score. I also deliver the package in 4 minutes.
My record of score is currently 20,000.
Very nice. What are your favorite classes? I know last time I said it was the assault or the heavy. That has now changed.
You said that?
Yeah, I said that.
Still, my favorite is officer, second is heavy, third is specialist, and fourth is assault.
Yeah. My new favorite is specialist. I have finally found out how to play specialist. If you're in close quarters combat, do not zoom in at all. That is a terrible thing to do.
I don't really zoom in at all anyway.
If you are, you need to hang back if you're going to zoom. It's trying to snipe. And I've gotten a 10 kill streak with sniping on that. Just hanging back and then waiting for people to come at you. So I've finally gotten the hang of specialist. I've yet to get the hang of officer still. I still think heavy is the best close quarters, and then assault is mid-ground between heavy and specialist.
Officer is just like, he's not even in a category compared to the other ones, that you have. Heavy is close quarters head-on. He's even mildly mid-range. Assault is kind of, he's more to the mid-range, but he also can do close quarters if necessary. Then specialist.
Assault can also snipe really well too.
Yeah, he's decent. But then you have specialist, which is the sniper of the game. He doesn't feel like the sniper that we wanted in Battlefront 2, but he's still really good.
He's the sniper I wanted. If you do the A280 CFE, he is a beast. I'm not a big fan of the standard weapon he uses.
Yeah, and then you have officer, which is the support role in the game. But he can hold his own without the support. For me, he's just a killing class. His weapon is extremely overpowered.
Is that the main weapon or the secondary weapon?
Both of them are really good. I started with the single shot one, and then I went to the blurg, which is, I have it modded right now, so it shoots 4 times.
Yeah, I saw that, and that is a beast.
What is it? The SE14C. And then for me, the blurg, I kind of like him evenly, but still officer, you don't really feel that inclined to help your team. Because
since you only get 1 point a second or something like that.
In the pre-alpha, I liked him a lot. He did get a lot of points, but still 250 battle points isn't going to break the game.
Yeah, in the pre-alpha, it was like, oh, I'm actually going to try and help my team out because I'm getting rewarded with battle points. This one, if you do that, whoever's in your proximity, you get a battle point, basically a second.
Yeah, and when you start out, you have all of your teammate around you, 15 people, and I activate it, I get 4 points. So, and that's a slot wasted because he's not the support character. They do have the strike ability, which can be substituted, which gives you a buff to your weapon.
Yeah.
So if you're overheated, you can activate it and have the little yellow bar, which doesn't deplete your heating bar. But he's a good class. They definitely need to work on assault. Definitely assault. If you know how to play him, he's good, and that's with any class. But he's supposed to be the entry level class, so he should just be more all around balanced.
Yeah, in a future episode, we will go over our thoughts on the game modes and the hero, the classes.
Yeah, more in depth.
But today we are going to be talking heroes after a short break. You're listening to the Star Wars Battlefront podcast, a podcast from the Tie-Dye Sheep Entertainment Podcast Network, a network dedicated to bringing content as great and as weird as the hosts. If you'd like to support us on Patreon, you can go to patreon.com/battlefrontpodcast. You can donate $1 up to $10, and we have different tiers for that. So if you'd like to support the show and get some exclusive content, because we'll be doing bonus shows there, you can support us through that link. And at $1 per month, you have the ability to come on the podcast if you so desire. Han, Boba, Rey, and Maul. What are your thoughts?
half of those you just said are really trash. Let's start with the heroes of the heroes. Some people call the villains heroes, which I do as well, because they're heroes to me.
Yeah.
Your heroes are my villains. So we have Han, which I think is supposed to match Boba, just because they have that kind of rivalry from smuggler to bounty hunter. But in this game, it doesn't really carry over. Han is just... I started playing him, and I said in the first impressions that he was actually good, but that just slowly started to deplete. He has absolutely no chance against the other villains. I mean, even one rocket barrage from Boba Fett can one-shot him.
He's not supposed to be played like that. I think Han is almost perfect.
No.
He needs more health.
Fair enough. He does have more health, I want to say, than Boba Fett.
But he still needs more health. The way his abilities work, he needs more health to actually be effective.
But he has no mobility whatsoever.
He's really slow.
They need the only thing to make him more balanced, because you say he's pretty good right now, is make his shoulder charge faster to where you can actually get out of combat with it.
Yeah, I was using that to get out of combat. It worked, but almost didn't.
If you've ever played Overwatch, it's like, what's his face? Reinhardt's charge. It's decently fast, but it has can't really control it very well.
Yeah, you pick a direction and you continue with that direction until you hit something. I like Han because he is the buffed trooper. He feels more like a rocket jump trooper in scope.
Yeah, but still, when you come down to it, you still associate heroes as being overpowered, and can take on not like hordes unless you're Darth Maul of troops, but still Han can hold his own whatsoever. He's definitely the team kind of hero.
Yeah.
And I know they're trying to keep team play as a base of the entire game, because squads, it does pay off to be in a team. But when you look at it, Boba Fett and Darth Maul can hold their own without teammates, and actually it works fairly better than working with a team.
I like how I didn't like in Battlefront 2015 how the heroes felt like gods on the battlefront. I like it how they are what they really are. Regular troopers with skill.
Yeah, and when it comes down to it, I mean, personally, I think I'm a really aggressive player by heart. I've done it. I basically do that in every game I play. And Han is the kind of guy that, you flank behind and take out one by one.
Yeah.
Rather than, taking out... He can't take out 3v1s.
No, he cannot.
I mean, Rey can mildly do that.
He can do two... He can take on two troops at a time.
Yeah, and that takes out a lot of his health even.
He's got an ability. You press both back bumpers on consoles. I don't know what it is on PC.
It's the rapid shot.
I think it's
carried over.
I think it's the number 2 on PC. But it's the rapid shot. And
that's actually a good ability.
That is a really good ability. You need to use that as much as you can.
And then
his proximity grenade does not make sense.
That's actually pretty good if you play defensively. I mean, you see Darth Maul coming in, you run and place it at a doorway, and then you wait, activate your rapid shot. When he comes into the room, you blow him up and then finish him off. He's a strategic character just because the detonate charge is a strategic ability. And a third of his abilities being strategic is 33% of himself being strategic. And then he's aggressive to some extent. So his DL-44 is a close quarters weapon, and the DL-44 in Battlefront 2015 was extremely overpowered if you pre-ordered. I mean, the deluxe edition, And it doesn't really feel like it did in the game. It's a really powerful blaster pistol.
It's super slow, though.
But when you pair it with the rapid fire, it becomes basically a jack-of-all-trades weapon.
Yeah, you can use it in any situation.
And then moving on to his shoulder charge, we discussed that. It's just not a good ability. 2 of his abilities are decent, and then the third one's just complete trash.
Yeah, his weakness is the shoulder charge and his abilities. He really needs that. Maybe there's a star card at launch that makes that
Hopefully.
faster. I hope so.
But
But right now, it needs to be worked on. It needs to be a little bit faster.
And DICE is really bad about not changing hero abilities. They really stick with the same thing and try to make that better, which sometimes can work out, but most of the time does not. Sometimes you just need to scrap an idea, if you know what I mean, and not just keep carrying over abilities from game to game.
This is the only time that they've done that.
I understand that, but still,
So you think that they should, if an ability doesn't work,
at least if it's possible to scrap the idea, if it's, that much of a problem.
what they could do with the new star card system is change that ability. They don't have to scrap it. They could just
True.
add something else, and then if you want to change your playstyle in that way, you just need to get that star card.
But if you notice that they do have, varying abilities, but it's still, at its core, the same ability, branched off and minorly changed. I mean, the Darth Maul one, where it goes longer, but does less damage. And then you have Boba Fett. He has a lot of more buffing things to his preset abilities.
But I'm thinking with the specialist class, how you can change your binoculars with a trip mine, a laser trip mine.
Yes, and
Something
could
like
work.
that. That's what I would like to see. I don't think that they should scrap ideas. I don't think that they should get rid of an ability completely just because it's not working right there.
Yeah, but that's really all there is to talk about Han.
Yeah, I personally like Han. He needs some work. He's almost there.
But when you compare him to the villains, he's not almost there.
You're not supposed to compare him to the villains. Like, there's going to be, in the full launch, when there is more heroes and villains, he's going to be able to hold himself against some of them. He's not supposed to be able to take everyone on, or that gets rid of the rock, paper, scissors thing completely.
And I've said this before, but you don't want to have the weak link being held up by a stronger hero. Say you have 2 villains that are just broken, but you have 4 weaker villains, and that makes it balanced. Or you have the opposite thing to the heroes.
Yeah, you want
them all to be able to hold their own.
You want both sides to be even, but you want certain heroes to be able to take out other villains.
True,
and vice versa.
I hope that carries over at launch.
Now let's talk about Rey, who is not perfect at all.
And I said on our first moments of playing at EA Play that she was good.
Yeah, she was good.
She was good. It just, her jump seems to have changed. I mean, I saw you playing her and you clicked the X button, expected her to jump, but it was like a hop because you have to hold it down.
The problem with Rey is she's got a lightsaber, so she's supposed to be close quarters combat. But you cannot play her close quarters because she is so weak.
She's slow. She has weak health.
Which is weird because we were talking with Dennis Brownville, the developers there at EA Play, and Sam, you said that you're like, yeah, I really like Rey. She's really overpowered. And then he was like, well, that's strange because everyone else is saying that she's super weak.
Yeah, and you think that
and
they
you
would
think
learn.
that they would buff her. So I'm thinking that they buffed her too much in the alpha. And then for the beta, they're like, oh, whoa, we need to tone this down.
Possibly. I know she, in the Star Wars universe, the cinematic universe right now, she hasn't gotten any training, and she is kind of weak for a Jedi, but this is a game, it should be balanced.
Yeah.
So let's look at her abilities. She has her little her lightsaber charge.
Yes.
Which in theory sounds awesome, but in practicality,
it's slow and unwieldy.
It's good for sneaking up on droids. I mean, if you do it and run through them, half their health is gone. Sometimes at one shots.
I think it would work better as a slice instead of a poke.
But you can slice out of the poke.
Yeah. She's also got a force ability
which seems weird. It worked really well in the pre-alpha, and I tried it, and it just didn't seem to work as well.
Yeah.
And it's a really generic ability once you think about it.
Well, not compared to Battlefront 2015. You had no ability like that.
You had
we all
pulse.
wanted that.
Yeah, and you had Greedo's high senses.
Oh, we're talking about two different
Yeah.
things. I thought you were talking about her ability
Oh
to
yeah, to where it
disrupt the
inverts the
droids.
controls.
Yeah,
I was thinking about that's the Jedi mind trick, and then you have the Force sense.
yeah, the foresight.
Yeah,
right?
the Foresight.
So the foresight, like you're saying, it's not a completely original idea.
It is better than
She
Boba Fett's.
needs it.
Yeah, because you can't be having two droids sneak up behind you because that's an automatic lose.
I was a specialist. Went toe-to-toe with Rey and brought her down to 10 health.
Yeah, that's how weak she is.
No one else was there. It was me versus Rey.
Yeah, and another thing is that, you think, hey, you have 10 health left. I'm going to go behind this wall and regen all my health. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Once you take certain amounts of damage, your health regeneration dwindles.
Your health is divided into 3 or 4 sections. Each section, after you pass that section, it's done for.
Yeah,
You will not regain that health again, which I think is wonderful.
That way it does make it balanced.
In the pre-alpha, it was you go hide and you regen all of your health. And now in the beta, it's you have different sections. So if you lose that section, you lose it completely.
Yeah, which does help you against villains like Darth Maul. But Rey and Han have so little health to begin with. It makes you I was Han and I went down and took out 4 droids. My health wouldn't regen over 100.
Yeah. So I like the new take on regenning for hero health.
Yeah, it does make the heroes exclusive, less time for people to camp with them.
Yeah. I like it much better because you feel like, oh, I've got the ability to regen health. I'm not just going to camp around. So it makes the flow through of heroes and villains much faster.
Yeah, and because in Battlefront 2015, once you got the hero, I was like, I do not want to die with this.
Yeah, I'm
going to be so defensive.
And that hinders the gameplay when you do that. Her, like I was saying, her mind trick.
Yeah, it's all right. It's really laggy. So if you go in a group of droids and activate it, you're dead.
Yeah, you have to stand back and then activate it. Rey right now is just such a weak hero.
It would be cool if you could use your force sight, and then once you see their outlines, you can actually use your inverting control ability.
Yeah,
get it through the wall
and target the people that you've already saw.
But it doesn't work like that. You have to be in really close quarters.
So think the third phase of the beta, Assault on Theed. Now let's go on to the villains. I've played Boba Fett in the pre-alpha, but he's changed drastically since then.
I did not play, so I don't know.
I played a little bit of Darth Maul in the arcade mode. So you're going to have to talk about the villains.
Yeah, so let's start with Boba Fett. I mean, I really enjoy him as a hero. I mean, even in Battlefront 2015, he was my favorite villain for a while.
Yes.
Then they nerfed him a lot. But still, in this game, his abilities really feel like a bounty hunter. He has 2 rocket abilities, which is definitely needed. And then, the middle star card is his jetpack, which it's not as overpowered in Battlefront 2015. It doesn't go as high, and it does kind of dwindle really fast, but that's what the star cards are for.
It feels much more like a Star Wars jetpack. Like before it seemed like a science fiction jetpack, which lasted much longer. This one, it's much more volatile.
Yes. And he has his concussion rocket, which definitely is useful. Like, they've seemed to just, they have the flash grenade concussion rocket, invert the Rey ability that inverts your controls and makes your eyesight horrible. It just seems like you're being blinded so much.
Yeah.
And it actually is it's really good for offensive play, in which he really needs, because he's a really defensive hero.
Yeah. He's the one that's going to be sniping more often than any of the other heroes.
Yeah, when I got on a really good game. It was like 16,000 score. I was with Boba Fett the entire game. And I was in the throne room just flying around, shooting my E3 rockets whenever they would reload. And if you play like that, he needs to be in the air as much as possible because he's harder to hit.
Yeah.
But there's some minor flaws, but to be honest, he's a really balanced villain. If I could change, his health is really low. He's very susceptible to grenade damage. And he has this weird, I don't know if it's a glitch, but if you get hit at a certain time in your jetpack, you like flail in the air and go to the ground.
Yeah.
And like lag for 20 seconds straight. It's basically the Luke and Vader stun animation of this game.
I hope that that does not get carried over to Battlefront 2.
Yeah, and we don't really need to touch on his rocket because it really essentially stayed the same. But his barrage rocket is an extremely good ability. And the good thing about this game is that he actually has 3 abilities and his jetpack doesn't fill 1 slot.
Yeah.
That always felt just dumb. Obviously, Boba Fett has a jetpack. He doesn't need to have a slot wasted for it. So he has his L1, R1 button for PlayStation 4. It basically is a scan pulse ping. It's not too effective. It's probably a little lower tier than Rey's ability to see through walls.
Yeah.
But it can be effective when you're in close quarters combat and you like see Rey through the wall and you need to get out of there. But his barrage, as I was saying, is really good. It shoots like, I want to say 6 rockets in succession. And if you do hold it on a target such as a heavy, which has more health, it will one-shot him. Yeah, so it's basically, you should be used as a smart rocket. Like when the doors of Theed open, you just activate that and you can get a lot of kills.
Now let's go on to Darth Maul. Still overpowered as all get out.
But it's one of those things, as in many video games, to where if he's on your team or you're playing him, you love him. But if you're against him, you despise him.
Yes.
That's the same with hacking. Hey, I can have a hacker on my team, but when it's on your team, it's the end of the world.
Yeah, exactly. His abilities, he can throw his lightsaber.
Which is, I think it's vertical, right?
Yeah, it's the vertical throw.
It actually does one shot.
Yes.
Which is pretty impressive.
It's easy to dodge, though.
Yeah, it is. It is hard to land a kill. It's really only going to be used for like doorways opening, and there's a lot of
people
stacking up or pretty AFK snipers that you can get from behind.
Then he has his spin, where he jumps.
Yeah, that is his best ability.
Spins around with his lightsaber.
If he didn't have that ability, he would die so easily. I mean, you saw me that Darth Maul gameplay, right?
Yes.
I would go into the clone spawn, take out 2, and still survive and leave.
Yeah. Think of Emperor Palpatine's
dash, or even
in Battlefront 2015.
Even in Overwatch, it's like Tracer. She has like 3 dashes.
Yes.
And it actually does stack. So you can have like 2 dashes in succession with a minor cooldown.
What's his third ability?
It's the force thing where he chokes you and pushes.
Picks you up with the force, choking you, and then throws you away. You can survive it.
Yeah, it does. I mean, even Officer can tank it. It's really just used to get out. If you're like being surrounded, you can activate that.
Yeah, say you're cornered, you activate that, and you throw everyone away, and then you use your dash abilities.
It's very effective on heroes because it makes them lag so hard with the get-up animation.
Yes.
That's the same with the troops, but not as bad. Really, the abilities you're going to be using is just the dash and his lightsaber, because his vertical throw is really only used in open spaces rather than close quarters. It sounds kind of weird, but when you're having clones shooting at you from all sides, you're not going to have time to just throw a lightsaber and still escape.
Yeah. How do you think that they would fix Darth Maul? I think, first of all, lower his health.
Yeah, he does have 700 health.
He is a huge tank.
Yeah, but I really like Darth Maul. Just the more I play him, the better I like him. Like right now, I probably like him better than Boba Fett, which is weird because some people like are just Major League Darth Maul fans from the start, but it took me a while just to get into him.
Yeah.
So to fix him, I mean, from an unbiased standpoint, I'll have to say lower his health to like 600. His abilities are pretty balanced. Maybe his dash, make it have a longer cooldown.
Yes. And do less damage.
It does like half health, but it can one-shot officers in weaker classes. But the biggest thing is just the mobility. It doesn't really even need damage because he's not a ranged villain per se. So if you have a heavy shooting at you with its sentry and you're X amount away from the heavy, you can just dash over there and kill him.
Yeah. So the heroes are much different than in Battlefront 2015.
Yeah, just from not as being as overpowered, but it still has the major flaw is that it's not really balanced. The villains are more powerful than the heroes.
Yes. To play the heroes, you need to be much more defensive.
And even have much more skill.
Yeah.
It's all about practice.
You have to play it very differently than you would Battlefront 2015.
And that's the deal, is that no one knows how to play Han and Rey because they don't really have the drive to play them. And, you could play heroes versus villains like offline. You could battle a friend in battles.
Yeah.
Which could help you practice, but basically only Darth Maul you can practice in arcade mode.
Yeah. One thing you need to do is stick with your team.
Especially if you're heroes.
Especially if you're a hero. This is good advice just if you're playing Battlefront 2. Just multiplayer as a trooper. You need to stick with your team as much as you can. They are your crutch. You can fall back on them and they'll help you out.
Yeah, and gameplay-wise, I'll do a little overview. Han is very defensive. He needs to be with his team at a distance.
Yeah, he needs to be behind his team.
And helping from afar, but if you see a villain, you need to get out of there if you want to survive. Then you have Rey, and she's kind of for more open spaces because she can get away easier. But you need to be flanking with your foresight and go behind and take them one by one. Then you have Boba Fett, which he needs to be in air as much as possible.
Yes.
You need to use your rockets as frequently as possible. They do have a long cooldown. But you can use a star card to make the cooldown just a little less. But he's more of the guys that, your team's distracting. I'm going to go behind, come up with the rockets, and blast them.
Yeah.
Then you have Darth Maul, who's kind of the loner of the group.
You can go alone with Darth Maul.
It's either way. I mean, our team was about to lose, and I was like, I'm just going to YOLO. I had Darth Maul, just got him. And I actually took the entire room down with just taking half health. So he can take down rooms if it comes down to it. But he's really aggressive, unlike all the other heroes and villains. So don't be afraid, if it comes down to it, to take that room for your team.
That's all for this episode of the Star Wars Battlefront podcast. We hope you enjoyed. You can follow us on Twitter at SWBP Podcast, twitter.com/SWBP Podcast. Our Patreon, if you'd like to support us, give us whatever you feel we deserved. We have a $1 tier, we have a $5 tier, we have a $10 tier. They're all monthly, so if you can support us by $12 a month, $1 or $12 a year, $1 a month, we'd really, really appreciate it. It helps us so much. And that link is patreon.com/Battlefront Podcast. We'll soon be launching a Patreon exclusive show once Battlefront 2 launches, so you can get even more content. Our PayPal, which is one of the most popular ways to support us, is paypal.me/tie-dye-sheep. Give us whatever you think we deserved. Give us feedback if you think we can improve in any way. To give us feedback, you can leave a review on iTunes or send us an email, battlefrontpodcast@gmail.com. Our YouTube channel is the Star Wars Battlefront Podcast. Upload full episodes of the podcast there, as well as even more videos, condensed versions, exclusive content is there as well. You can listen to the show on iTunes, SoundCloud, Stitcher, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. As always,
Thanks for listening.
and may the Force be with you.